Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamerspro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Was a day that I was really looking forward to. For those of you who have not seen some of the content we produced over the last 2 years, I made an official public announcement that my new favorite player in the NBA has officially become Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is a bad boy. He is a bad boy. And I knew that this guy could be my favorite player after the Denver Nuggets were able to come back in game four. Basically tied the series in game four, and we did a live. And I was like, bro, like for me to sit up here and do a live just about the Nuggets and that's it, I was like, okay, something is going on here. This is pretty special, at least for me, right? At least for me. So yesterday, I was really looking forward to that game. But I won't lie to you, man. Yesterday, I was so tired. I mean, kind of like sleepy. The game was coming on at 3:30 a.m. my time. And by the time it tipped off, it's like 3:40, 3:42, 43. And I was exhausted. I did everything I could to stay up. I was so tired. So I started watching the game. And I watched the first quarter, and I made it to the second half. But by the second half, it was like around 5 a.m. I'm like, yo, I am going to bed. The Nuggets had a lead at the half, and I'm like, I'm just going to hope that they hold on to this lead and end up being victorious at the end of the game. So what happened? I woke up this morning to jump on the internet to see what happened. And all of a sudden, through my timeline, I started seeing 40 points, 40 points, 0 turnovers. I'm like, whoa, they won? I was like, yeah. So I went to the box score, and I want to look at the box score and really actually get into this game and get into my thoughts, not only about this game, but Nikola Jokic. So let's get into the box score here. So I'm looking at the box score, and I'm looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves side. Michael Porter Jr. finished the game with 6 points. Aaron Gordon, again, had another solid game on 50% shooting from the field. Ford made all of his free throws. He had 18 points and 10 rebounds in that game, and 5 assists, 1 steal, only 2 turnovers, although Michael Porter Jr. did add 2 blocks. Then we go to KCP, Contavious Caldwell-Pope. He has 16 points in the starting lineup, got 4 assists, 5 rebounds, which is good. Jamal Murray, he shot 50% from the field. Thank God he didn't shoot a high volume because he hasn't been as efficient as I would like him to be, but nevertheless, he finished the game with 16 points on 50% shooting with only 4 assists. He did have 2 turnovers, but he also contributed a steal. And then, of course, you have players off the bench like Christian Braun. He chipped in 10. Reggie Jackson chipped in, 6 points off the bench. He made some important shots. But then I want to get to Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic finishes the game with 40 points with a plus minus of 21. 21 when he was on the floor. He had 1 block, 2 steals, 13 assists, 7 rebounds. He shot 89% from the free throw line, 66% from the 3, making 2 of his 3 attempts, and shot an overall field goal shooting percentage of 68.2 points, 68.2 percent from the floor. Now, why am I bringing that up, his field goal shooting percentage? The reason I'm bringing that up is because Nikola Jokic is being guarded by the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. And there's been a lot of discussion about that, and I want to dive into it. I also want to give some credit to Scap Attack. He produced a show today on the Nuggets, and he gave me some ideas from watching this show, so shout out to him. If you guys don't know who he is, check him out. He makes hilarious content. But anyway, let's talk about this from 2 aspects. Let's talk about the the Rudy Gobert angle. Nikola Jokic shot 68% while his primary defender was Rudy Gobert. Now we have people running around talking about, well, what does this mean for Rudy Gobert? Is he overrated? Listen, folks, I don't think it's because Rudy Gobert is just overrated. There could be some truth to that. But the fact of the matter is, he is going up against the best player and the most skilled player in the NBA. I want to tell you guys why it was a beautiful game for me as an NBA fan watching Nikola Jokic perform last night. As you guys know, Kobe Bryant is my favorite player of all time. And I basically spent an entire career watching Kobe's entire career watching him, just looking at Kobe play, looking at him make shots, looking at his footwork. And I'm just like, whoo, whoo, like, whoo, did you see that? Ladies and gentlemen, I was watching Nikola Jokic play yesterday, and that was my reaction all throughout the game and even in previous games. I'm watching him and I'm like, man, this dude is really good. His footwork, his touch around the basket, his level of patience that no one really talks about, his patience to play out of the post and they run like 3 gazillion players off of him before he makes his move. His patience, his craftiness, his ability to see the court and make some of the most intelligent, skillful passes from a player. Forget about guard, center, like from a basketball player. I'm watching him and I'm like, damn, his skill level is off the charts. I felt Kobe, not like he's Kobe Bryant, but I felt the same way. The emotions that I felt watching Kobe play from a skill standpoint, because I used to watch Kobe with his shots and his ball. I'm like, whoa, this dude can shoot, right? You'll watch him like, oh my God, did you see what he just pulled off there? That was the sensation I was having watching Nikola Jokic play yesterday. I thoroughly enjoyed watching him play basketball yesterday. That's the first aspect. The second aspect, which goes to Scap Attack's point that he brought up in the show, the Denver Nuggets are doing this against the #1 rated defense in the NBA. They're doing this against the best defensive team in the NBA. Now, Anthony Edwards plays defense. But for them to figure out a way to crack the code, and once they crack the code after the first 2 games, they have been flourishing against this team. I read a stat the other day where we're seeing, and in this NBA playoffs, we've witnessed the biggest point differential from the regular season to the playoff drop-off in NBA history. The regular season teams were scoring around 114 per game. Now in the playoffs, teams are scoring about 105. Yesterday, against the #1 rated defense in the NBA, and in the playoffs, I believe, the Denver Nuggets put up 112 points against them. 112. And Nikola Jokic was widely the main reason for that. Widely. Like, this dude is unbelievable. And I think Denver is going to win this series. I made my prediction after game 4, and I said that they're going to close this thing out in 6 games, and I'm still holding on to that. Let me get into this topic here. As you guys know, Reggie Miller made headlines over the last 2 days because of his comments that he made during a game. I think a Minnesota Timberwolves game or something like that, where essentially what he was doing, because the clip is too short to play, so I'll just tell you what he said. Essentially what he was doing was he was giving Anthony Edwards credit for taking the blame after the Minnesota Timberwolves, lost game 3, so I'm assuming it was game 4. Saying he was like, great job. It took a lot for a young man like that. And then in the same breath, he goes on to say, and a lot of us have players, veteran players that we have on our Mount Rushmore that never do that. They'll always point fingers and blame deflects and all of that, blah, 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 right? So immediately everyone thought, well, he's referring to LeBron James because he's the only one that most people are calling in their Mount Rushmore for talking about players right now. I don't know why he'll be talking about players in the past, talking about players right now. So people started reacting to it. We reacted to it. Different shows reacted to it. Undisputed. Even Nick Wright damn near popped a blood vessel reacting to it. He got so pissed off going at Reggie Miller and all of that. So what happened yesterday? Just relaxing, scouring through the internet, looking for what I'll talk about today. And I came across a clip from the Dan Patrick Show. And I saw an initial clip. It was talking about Bronny James. And then I looked for the full show, and it's about an 18-minute show. You guys can go check it out. And I immediately clicked on it because I thought, well, I'm sure Dan Patrick is going to ask Reggie Miller to expand on his comments about LeBron James, right? The comments that we all just finished reacting to. And Reggie Miller then decides, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and tuck my tail and run for the hills and act like as if I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I said. I don't know what you guys are referring to. and just totally denied the entire thing. And I'm sitting there looking at Reggie Miller like, bro, what in the hell are you saying right now? So for those of you who didn't hear Reggie Miller basically put on his running shoes, his track shoes, and bolt his way up out of there, no pun intended to Usain Bolt, want to play exactly what Reggie Miller had to say about his comments that he's denying, and then want to come back and react to what he had to say. Take a listen to what Reggie Miller had to say here.
Because you know what? You did say this about the coaches got fired, but the players either last week or the week before. So you were saying that you got coaches fired in Phoenix and Los Angeles where players maybe didn't take the blame.
No, what I said was the coaches, unfortunately, are always the first to go because the players have guaranteed contracts.
Yes.
So coaches are always the first to go, which is unfortunate. I said we need to look more so at the players and more so who's putting the rosters together, Theodore.
Okay, but do you have a player in mind? Because you said current Mount Rushmore. If it's not LeBron,
I will leave it up to interpretation.
Yeah, but that's part of the problem. Now we bring in all these other people. So you took a shot at maybe LeBron or KD because they didn't take ownership or blame for the coaches getting. How about you just nod your head? Was it LeBron?
No, stop it.
I thought
everyone thinks that everything evolves around LeBron. It's not everything does not evolve around LeBron, guys. It doesn't.
I felt that. I felt that you were saying LeBron because the only other player current on the Mount Rushmore would have been Durant because Steph has had Steve Kerr as his coach and
Steph, LeBron, KD, whomever. I'll leave it up to your interpretation.
So you heard Reggie Miller. First of all, that was extremely disappointing. Listening to Reggie Miller basically tuck his tail and run for the hills was very, 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 very disappointing. I'm very disappointed in Reggie Miller. Like I really am. Bro, you were talking about LeBron. Who else were you talking about? Who else were you talking about? Who have we spent the last week and a half, 2 weeks talking about not taking accountability and getting like who have we been talking about over the last 2 weeks? Is it not him? So for you to talk about, oh my gosh, what are people talking about? It's like, no, what are you talking about? My thing is, if you said it, say who you was getting at, B. Don't now all of a sudden when they're like, yo, this is what you said. Now I don't know what y'all are talking about. Oh my gosh, what are they talking about? It's like, bro, that was so disappointing. If I'm being honest with you. I really, really expected more from Reggie Miller in that moment. Like, bro, if you're going to say it with your chest, B. Because now, and if you listen to Dan Patrick, he's sitting up there asking him, so, well, who are you talking about? Who's left? Who are these Mount Rushmore players? Is it Kevin Durant? Is it Stephen Curry? Who are you talking about? Who has had that narrative about him, and who have we been talking about over the last 2-3 weeks? So I don't know. Maybe he had a change of heart. Maybe he decided, you know what? I don't want no parts of this. I don't want none of the smoke with these dudes. I don't want no problems with them. Or maybe somebody called him up. Or maybe TNT called him up like, why are you talking about LeBron? I don't know what it was. I don't know. Or it could be that maybe he's looking for a new gig in the future, given the fact that I think inside the NBA is about to be canceled in the coverage of the NBA because they lost their rights, the media rights to NBC, and maybe he's just keeping it PC, politically correct, in order he needs to, in case he needs to go get a job at ESPN or some other place where these guys won't be like, oh, you're going to be here talking bad mouthing LeBron, we're not going to give you a job. I don't know what it is, but for him to tuck his tail and run for the hills and act like as if he doesn't know what people were talking about, that was pretty disappointing. Now, going into this series and throughout this series, people in media have been saying that Is Anthony Edwards the next coming of Michael Jordan? They even pushed this towards the end of the season. Michael Jordan, he himself even commented on it. And I saw what they were doing. Essentially, the NBA was they're searching for a new star, right? And if they can market it around Anthony Edwards and say he's going to be the face of the NBA and remind him of Jordan, they can milk that cow for at least the next 10 to 12 years. Now, to be fair to Anthony Edwards, he is a great, fantastic basketball player. Offensively, he's very skilled. He can hit the three. He has a great crossover dribble. He has good, He has good dribbling skills. He has footwork. He plays defense. He wants to play defense. He doesn't have the size of Jordan. I think he's 6'5" or thereabout, 6'4", 6'5", whereas Jordan was 6'6", legitimate 6'6". But nevertheless, people have been trying to make that comparison. And if you're comparing a player to Michael Jordan, it means that you're also comparing him to Kobe. And I'm a Kobe Bryant fan. And if you're saying that this guy is the next Jordan Kobe, then I'm going to be watching you with a very, very close eye, because you got to show me. You got to show me. One playoff series ain't enough. You got to show me, because Kobe and Jordan are different breeds. Quite literally, of all the players that played in the NBA, those two guys are different from any other player that has ever played in the NBA. Those two guys specifically. So if you're getting ready to say that, you got to show me. You got to convince me. As a Kobe Bryant fan, you got to show me. I got to see it. You're going to have to make me say, yeah, he got it. Like, I'm not just going to give it up to you just because you want me to, right? So they were playing against the Denver Nuggets. He had a very big game, 4, I believe, where he scored 44 points in that game. And then yesterday they were playing against the Nuggets, and Anthony Edwards finished that game with, I think, 18 points in the game, 1 of 5 shooting from. He didn't really have his best game. He shot 33% from the floor. So what happened today? I tuned into ESPN First Take, and they had the panel of Molly Qerim, ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, Kendrick Perkins, and Chris Mad Dog Russo. So they're up there getting through their breakdown and all of this. And when it came turn for Chris Mad Dog Russo to talk, he just immediately went to it and said, first of all, can we stop with the Michael Jordan comparisons? And he really, really started getting into why he thinks there should be no comparison. So what we want to do is we want to play exactly what Chris Russo had to say on ESPN First Take today. And then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
I'm looking at them right now, and I'm like, damn, I think this is the worst prediction of my career.
You've made a lot of them. I had the Giants losing to Buffalo 49-13 in Super Bowl 25, and the Bills, that's the Norwood missed field goal. That was a bad one too.
Right.
But this one's worse. Yeah. Because I did it on little radio stations. He's doing it in front of the.
You brought it all the way back to Super Bowl 25. Thank you for that.
Yeah, but I would. I would.
I'm braver than you.
Right.
I'm braver than you.
What you said?
Can we get back to the lack of belief though? Because Draymond, like you said, was talking about that at halftime as well, and Stephen A. echoing the same sentiment.
Well, first off,
believe in
I love Anthony Edwards too. Let's stop now with the Jordan comparisons, please. He's won 6 playoff games. And Jordan won a championship before he went to the NBA.
Nobody's comparing. It looks, how he looks, he looks like he has that potential. That's all anybody
Never
said.
again. I don't want to hear it.
Never again.
There's Jordan and there's everybody else. Let's be fair. That's number one. Perk.
Jordan looked a certain way before he won titles.
He scored 63 against the Celtics in a playoff game, and he had nobody.
And he lost that game.
Can we stay at the task at hand?
Double overtime.
Go ahead.
We know he's the greatest.
May I continue?
Yeah, I'm focused on this
Don't
series.
look at me that way, little life.
I mean, you don't want.
How does Minnesota going to come back and win Game 7, yet the Pacers are out of it? What, Denver's not better than the Knicks? Yet the Pacers can't win a Game 7, and the Timberwolves are going to go out there and beat the Nuggets in Game 7? That's not fair. Burke?
It is fair.
How is that fair?
It is fair. Let me explain why.
So you heard what Chris Russo had to say there. To me personally, I think he is 100% on the money. I think he's 100% on the money, and I don't think he's hating. I don't think he's shattering anybody's hopes and dreams. I don't think he's attacking the young man. Like one joker tried to come on our channel and say the other day, because I disagree. I'm like, relax. Like, just relax. The fact of the matter is there is no comparison. When initially I heard this comparison, I scoffed at it. I'm like, wait, the only reason why you're comparing them because they both dark skinned? Like, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing? Right? That's what it is. They both dark skinned, so therefore you remind you of Jordan. But apart from that, there is really no comparison at all. From a starting point, trajectory wise, there's nothing that suggests that Anthony Edwards is Michael Jordan on par to be the next Michael Jordan. There's absolutely nothing that suggests the following. When Jordan got into the NBA, when Anthony Edwards got into the NBA, he was scoring 19 points as a rookie, coming into the league with 1 steal, 2.9 assists, 4.7 rebounds. When Jordan came into the NBA as a rookie, he was scoring 28 points per game on 51% shooting, 17% from the three. The following season, he scored 25. He only played 18 games that year. The following season, he scored 37 games. He played all 82 games, 37 points. He played all 82 games. That's the highest scoring average we've seen in the last 30 years in the NBA. Michael Jordan holds that. The very next season, he scores 35, and he goes on to win 10 scoring titles in a row. In Anthony Edwards' first 4 years in the NBA, his accomplishments are the following. He made the all-rookie first team, I'm talking about the NBA, and he made 2 all-star selections. What did Michael Jordan do in his first, in his first 4 seasons in the NBA? Michael Jordan was winning scoring titles. By 1988, he had already started winning MVPs. He was already he was winning all-star game MVPs in his first 4 seasons in the NBA. You know, he was making all first NBA teams when he did it. By 1988, he had already won a Defensive Player of the Year. And he was making multiple all first defensive teams. There is no comparison. He was leading the league in steals and all of that. There is no comparison whatsoever. And sorry to break some people's hearts, but you need to relax. I think some of you guys really need to relax. Let Anthony Edwards be Anthony Edwards. Because the minute you start comparing him to Michael Jordan, you're comparing him to the greatest player to ever play the sport. And then complaining that people are holding him to that standard. That's what you're going to have. And that's what you deserve. If you're going to stand up and say he's the next Jordan, then people are going to say, well, really? Well, let me look at it. I don't see this. I don't see that. I don't see this. I don't see that. I don't see this. I don't see that. Go sit down. People are going to shoot you down. So the best thing to do is not compare him to these people and let him just be him. And let's appreciate him for who he is. The closest thing to Jordan is Kobe. But Kobe was wired totally differently than all of these guys. Kobe wanted that and he worked for it and he proved he could be that. Like Kobe Bryant was a totally different animal. Totally different. It's not even close. Kobe was playing with a prime Shaquille O'Neal. His first year, he only started 6 games. Second year, he started 1 game, played 79 games, so he was still coming off the bench. Then in his third year, he only played 50 games in a shortened season. And then from that point forward, it was all she wrote. He was playing with Shaq. He was averaging 22 points per game in 1990, 28 points per game. So in year 4, right? Year four where Anthony Edwards is now, he just scored 25 a game. Kobe scored 22. But in the next following seasons, Kobe was scoring 28 points per game, getting you 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 25 and 2, getting you 5.5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals. Then he was getting you 30 points per game while playing with Shaq, 30 points per game while playing with Shaquille O'Neal. Getting you 2 steals a game, 7 rebounds a game, 6 assists a game, and it just goes on and on and on. 24, 27.6, 35, 31.6, 28. Like, so let's pump the brakes. And along the way, he's making all NBA teams, all first defensive teams. Like Kobe made 9 all first defensive teams, 12 overall. So those guys are different. My suggestion is let Anthony Edwards live and let him be his own man, and let's chill with all of these predictions and this hype. Like, let him be who he is. Let's not end his career before it gets started. Not end his career, but let's not throw a baggage on him that he doesn't need to be carrying at this point. Let me talk about one of the most disrespected people in all of sports, Nikola Jokic, the baddest boy on the planet right now. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA, period, end of story. But for whatever reason, it seems to be in vogue to insult him and take shots at him for whatever reason. Now, what am I referring to? As you guys know, shout out to Gilbert Arenas and those guys over there at Gil's Arena. And they usually get into these very spirited debates, especially when we're talking about Euro players versus American players and all of that. And they really get into it, right? But about a month or so ago, Gilbert Arenas had a very, very hot take. And his hot take was centered on him essentially saying that Nikola Jokic is the worst player to ever win an MVP award. And those comments sent the entire NBA community into an absolute frenzy, because a lot of us were out here looking at Gilbert Arenas like, excuse me, what did you just say? So what we want to do is want to play some of what Gilbert Arenas had to say about the reigning MVP. And then we're going to really get into the meat and potatoes of this show here. Take a listen to what Gilbert Arenas had to say here.
Okay. His first MVP, his team record was 5th in the NBA.
They were 5th in the NBA, 3rd in the West, 47-25.
Mm-hmm. And then his second one, his team was 10th in the NBA. Now, only time that happened was 88 Jordan. His team was 7th. And obviously we know what happened in 88. Defensive Player of the Year, scoring, title, steals, champ, dunk, champ, and I think All-Star MVP. So it was a historic year, right, we could say. And then the next person to have a record like that would have been Westbrook when his team was 10th and he had a triple-double since the 70s. Which
first time since Oscar Robertson.
But neither here nor there. Now,
the notebook is out.
Now, since there's
the
only
notebook is out.
No, not just the notebook. He bought the big book out.
The big book.
He got the big book out.
You know what I mean?
He got multiple stats on this bitch.
What was that dude, Mike? What's his name?
So there was a gentleman, ESPN personality, Mike Greenberg, said this is the worst take of all time. And this is the same Mike Greenberg that said UConn can make the NBA playoffs this season.
So I guess he didn't listen to himself say that he thought a college team that probably got 1 or 2 actual NBA players on it can be the actual NBA team.
Could make the NBA playoffs.
Okay, so MJ MVPs, there's 4 MVPs and his team record. 7th, 2nd, 1. Magic's team, 1st, 2nd, 1st. Bird, 1st. LeBron, 1st, 4th. Curry, 1st. Nash, 1st, 4th. Carmelo, 2nd, 1st. Duncan, 2nd, 1st. Jokic, 5th and 10th. 5th and 10th. Now, here's the problem. The problem is not me. The problem is these right here, right? The winner of Jokic's first one should have been Greek the Freak. But they didn't want to give Greek his 3rd straight MVP, so they up there. So this is not me. They up because they didn't want to give Greek his 3rd one. So they gave it to Jokic. That's y'all problem, not mine, right? And then his second one was he almost had a triple-double. Not actually having a triple-double, almost having one of those motherfuckers they gave it to. They used that. The big man having 10 assists while a dude actually had a triple-double that year. Westbrook had a triple-double that year when Jokic won his second one. So the fact that he almost won when they dumbed it down to give him that award, he's the only multiple winner that didn't even have 50 wins when he won his MVP.
So you heard what your man said. Why am I bringing all of this up? Gilbert Arenas' takes. Nikola Jokic being picked last by NBA All-Stars at an All-Star. I still cannot get over that one. Just think about this for a second. There's an All-Star game draft. You have LeBron James and you have Nikola Jokic. And Giannis Antetokounmpo picking the players. And then they start selecting the All-Stars. Right? And at the very end, Nikola Jokic gets picked last. Just think about that for a second. Nikola Jokic, the best man on the stage, the best player on the stage, gets picked last. Then he goes on to the playoffs and wipes the floor with them. Now, the narrative was this year, are we sure? We shouldn't have given it to SGA. We're sure this is it. We're sure that he'd been the worst. Listen, here's what I think about Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is a man of very few words, but the people around him are not. And I think that Nikola Jokic hears all the disrespect, and I think he hears it, and he says to himself, I'm going to destroy these dudes. He's not going to be the aggressor. He's not going to come to you talking trash to him. But if you think that you're going to run up on Nikola Jokic and just do him anyhow or say whatever the hell you want to say about him, and he's not going to get his get back, you are sadly mistaken. Let me just check something real quick. Where is... let me just check something quick. I just want to get it right. Good. I said this before and I'm going to say it again. Don't play around with them Serbians. Why am I saying this? Because I went to school with Serbians. I did. These dudes, man, ain't your regular Joes walking up and down the street. Markieff Morris Sr. thought he found a sucker that day. He thought Nikola Jokic was a sucker. He ran up on him and hit him in the elbow, and Nikola Jokic turned right back around and knocked his ass across the court. And Marcus Morris was saying blah, blah, blah on the internet. I'm going to get him back. And the Jokic brothers said, you go ahead. We will be looking for you. We'll be waiting for you. Have you seen that dude's brothers? Just because he's not as demonstrative as his brothers or his eldest brother, who is just, I don't even know what to say about him. Don't think that he ain't got that dog in him. I think Nikola Jokic hears all the disrespect. I think he hears all of the people saying that they're speaking their nonsense on him. And I think he has made it up in his mind that he's going to embarrass all of them. And whenever these people take these shots at him, they always end up looking bad. Always. Always. My thing is, why don't y'all go find somebody else to play with? This is the part of all the players in the NBA. This is who y'all chose to go mess with? This dude? You got all of these dudes in the NBA. That's who y'all want to play with? Y'all want to play with him. Bro, Nikola Jokic makes it look easy. Easy. And, oh, by the way, according to some people, this is the most skilled era in the history of the sport. These are the most advanced NBA players in the history of basketball. The most athletic, the most skilled, and they can't do nothing with a dude that cannot jump off the sidewalk. They cannot jump more than 3 inches off the floor, yet they cannot stop him. So what does that say about these dudes? Or maybe y'all been overhyping them and he's exposing these dudes. He eating these dudes alive. Alive. He's the baddest dude in the NBA. He's the most skilled player in the NBA. And he does all of it without saying a mumbling word. A mumbling word. So my conclusion to all of this is keep it up. Keep it up. Keep going out there saying this nonsense, saying that nonsense, saying this one, saying that one, and let's go see what's going to happen. Going into these playoffs, I picked the Nuggets to win. Now, I didn't know that the Suns were going to get slapped out of the playoffs. I picked the Suns to beat the Wolves. I was wrong there. But so far, so good. I'm still on track. Y'all can't mess with this dude. All right. Y'all keep it up. Keep disrespecting this dude and be surprised when he continues to embarrass people. Last year, when he played against the Lakers, he made it his business to embarrass the Lakers. You think he forgot that LeBron and these guys picked him up? Let me tell you something. At this level, they're all competitors. And if you think Nikola Jokic is not a competitor, you are out of your brain. Those guys are hyper competitive. If you pick me last in an All-Star, I'm coming for your ass. If we get a chance to line up against each other, I'm wiping the floor with you. If it is within my ability. And I think he got a hype man in Mike Malone who be hyping him up every single day. I think Nikola Jokic be sitting there watching videos of his horse race up and down. He be in the locker room. Mike Malone come up to him like, yo, everybody get out the locker room. Get out the locker room. He be walking around Nikola. How you doing? I'm good. I'm good. Hello, coach. I'm good. All he did is just hand him a video. Nikola, did you see this? Hand him the video. He just slowly put down a video of him watching his horses. And he looks at it. He don't say none. He's like, Mike Malone, walk out the room. He's been activated. He embarrassing these dudes. My suggestion is leave him alone. Go find somebody else to play with because clearly he is not the one.